Hi friends, in today's video, I'm going to be using the supplies that I received in my mystery bundle from my previous video. So if you want to check that video out, I will link it in the description down below. I thought it would be fun to challenge myself to create a Halloween project using these supplies and also incorporating some craft supplies that I already have on hand, but using these as the center focus. I decided to make a watercolor journal for the month of October, and I will show you step by step on how I made this really pretty Halloween journal. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so starting off, I ended up using, and I've already cut it up in pieces at this point, but I pulled this really nice orange paper from this paper pad, and it had this gray and white striped background. So I wanted to use this to cover the chipboard that came with this envelope album kit. I cut two pieces. We are going to use some distress inks to just give a little bit more dimension to this. So for that, I am using some Spiced Marmalade, Rusty Hinge, Wild Honey, and Carved Pumpkin. And Carved Pumpkin is actually the same color of paint that I received in the bundle. Rusty Hinge is going to be the last color that I end up using. Now these are all inks. There's no oxide that I'm using here. So I'm starting off with the Spiced Marmalade. And I'm just going to kind of start off my page and then gently add that shadowing effect all the way around the paper. Then I'm going to go into Carved Pumpkin. And I want to keep the center light. I'm going to go into Wild Honey. And last but not least, Rusty Hinge, which is really going to create a little bit more dimension all the way around. I like to concentrate the color on the corners. It really does make the center look a lot lighter. And then go around and just soften those edges a little bit more, just like that. So that's what we have. And this is really easy to clean as well, using some water because distress inks are water reactive, so it does clean off very easily. For the background, I decided to go into my stash of dies, and I found this really pretty spider web one from scrapbook.com, and I cut out two pieces on just basic black cardstock. And then additionally, I decided to create some rosettes. You can create your own rosettes using a scoreboard, but I have this die, so I ended up just using this. I cut out two coordinating pieces, and I distressed both of these using scorched timber. And with the rosettes, they are an accordion fold. So what's beautiful about these dies is that it does score your paper so that you know exactly where to fold for each one. And that's basically what I did for both. So in the direction that you do one, you're going to repeat the same with the second piece. Fold it down, fold it back, fold it down, fold it back, just like an accordion all the way for both of them. Take your glue and then attach your two ends together there. You'll do that on one side and then for the other side. And this paper that I used and distressed is also from the same paper pad. It's just the back side of the orange one that we used. So this is what the rosette will look like. And in order to form it, we're just going to gently press inward. So all of those accordion folds are going to then kind of turn inward like that. To make sure that this stays in place, I just cut out a little circle using a punch, and I'm going to be applying that onto the back. So with my hot glue, I'm just going to add a pretty good size amount of glue on the circle. And then we're going to take our rosette like this. We're going to hold it and then place that right on top. We're going to hold that in place until the hot glue cools down. To finish the top part of the rosette, I ended up taking one of the buttons from the Trick or Treat pack. So I decided on using this black one that has polka dots on it, and I just added some gold trim that I had, put that right into the two holes of the button. I also die cut another circle out of the same orange paper that we used, and then I also went in with my distress inks, the same ones that we used in the beginning. And I'm also using this felt sticker, which is from this set that we got. And then this I thought I wasn't going to be using, but I ended up changing my mind. So I took this flower here, and with a little bit of paint, I went in with rich espresso and dark copper. And so I just altered that. And then for this, I ended up taking apart the fabric flower from this Prima Flowers. Again, with some paint, I went ahead and I altered that as well. So I'm going to add a little bit of hot glue onto the center here. And then last but not least, cut these little guys off. Here is what our rosette looks like. I love it. It's so fall. The next thing that I want to do is I want to use this gold leaf onto my paper. And I didn't want to add it all over. I just kind of want to add it in specific areas. So I have this metal leaf adhesive that I got from Hobby Lobby. And using a paper towel, I'm just going to add some right onto this scrap piece of paper like that. And then I'm just going to take it and just kind of dab it in different areas on my paper. I'm being a little bit haphazard with it because I don't really want the entire page to be covered in gold leaf, just enough. That's going to take about 30 to 60 minutes for the glue to dry. And you'll know that it's dry because the glue is very tacky. To work with gold leaf, it is very messy. So I like to cover my surface with some wax paper. So as you can see, where we applied the glue, hopefully you can see this, there we go. Where we applied the glue is now sticky. So this is where the gold leaf is going to stick to. And I just like to take the gold leaf and just dab it into the areas that have the glue. And then I just take a brush, gently rub off any of the excess. And while we're on the subject of gold leaf, I took a scrap piece of black cardstock and just did the same process with the gold leaf. And I also die cut some bats. Look at how adorable these bats look. Just elevates them oh so much. So before we start adhering these papers onto our base here, I am going to distress ink the sides so that they are covered as much as possible. I think I want to go in with walnut stain. So I just want to darken the edges here to make it more polished. So I'm going to cut these down to size. So I'm going to take my chipboard here and outline. And I'm also going to draw in where the holes are so that I don't forget to punch a hole there. Punch my holes. I'm going to go in with some double-sided adhesive. There we go. So all that's left to do is to just trim around these edges here and then repeat the process for the back as well. I'm going to take our spider web that we die cut, do the same thing for the bottom piece. Trim off all of our spider webs here. All right, so here's the front and the back, and I also took rich espresso, the dark copper, and the chocolate brown, and sponged that all over the inside panels as well. I did want to go ahead and use the embossing folder. I'm just going to use some scraps of this corrugated cardboard that I had, and I want to get an imprint of this bottom part right here. Okay, so here it is. I'm just going to add some of the scorch timber because I want to bring out some of those raised edges. Look at how cool that looks. I'm just going to tear it into smaller strips so that I can add that as a layer of interest right on the back there. Same thing with this one. I'm just going to tear it a little bit here and here. The grunge board, which I ended up taking out a 3 and a 1, do a mixture of rich espresso and chocolate brown metallic. And then I'm going to take a little bit of this dark copper as well. And then I'm going to take a little bit of the Distress Paint carved pumpkin, and we're just going to add just a little here and there. This is what it looks like. So I'm going to just let that hang out and dry for a little bit. So now let's go ahead and start assembling the front cover. So I'm going to take my rosette, our 2 pieces of corrugated cardboard, our 31, our bats. I think I'm also going to use this stick pin, which also came in the mystery bundle. This is from Little Yellow Bicycle, flower stick pins. Okay, so I think this is the configuration I'm going to go with. Start gluing things down, starting off with the number 1 here. Okay, I'm going to put that one down. Add some glue onto the back here. This is going to go about here, followed by this piece. I added that little stick pin just right inside here. Then I'm going to take our little bat. I want the bat to be adhered right at the base here of the 3 and the 1. Just going to add that right on top to keep that bat down, and then I'm going to do the same thing for the bottom bat here. So I have that bat like that, so I want this one going in this direction. I think the very last thing that I want to add are these mini jewels from Doodlebug in the orange colorway here. Maybe adding just a couple to the center of the spider webs. This is from Dollar Tree. This is their watercolor paper. I cut it down to size. I included the hole punches at the very top. We're going to take our back plate, and then inside the envelope album kit, there were these 2 rings. So I'm going to use that to assemble all of this together. I'm just going to take some ribbon that I had, as well as the ribbon that came in the mystery bundle, and I'm going to put these together and feed it through our ring and then make a loop. And then go ahead and tighten that up. I'm just going to leave some at different lengths. And then we're going to do the same thing with the other side. I love how this came out. And I also went ahead and just took a gold pen and outlined the 3 and the 1 because I felt like the 1 was blending in a little bit too much with the background. I absolutely love the gold leaf peeking through. I think it just elevates it. I did go ahead and round off the corners of the watercolor paper just to match the front and the back cover. I'm really excited to use this for the month of October, add in some really spooky watercolor designs in here, and get creative. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and I will see you all in my next video. Take care. Bye.